Karoline Leavitt is back, and she is not holding anything back from taking down a smug French politician who quickly realized why German debates are tricky, to leaving Jeff Bezos. Clearly unsettled, every moment radiates pure energy. This is more than commentary. It's a full display of confidence. Get ready, because every second is unforgettable, and what you're about to see is truly legendary.
There is now a member of the European Parliament from France who does not think the U.S. represents the values of the Statue of Liberty anymore. They want the Statue of Liberty back. So is President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed low-level French politician would be to remind them that it's only because of the United States of America that the French are not speaking German right now. So they should be very grateful.
This is both funny and painfully ironic. A French politician is demanding that the Statue of Liberty be returned, yet somehow completely ignores the fact that it was a gift from the French people themselves. To make it even more absurd, his party represents only 14% of the population, according to the latest EU Parliament elections, meaning he isn't even speaking for the majority who actually gave the gift. The irony doesn't stop there. This demand comes from a left-wing politician, as if that side of the political spectrum still holds the global torch of freedom. It's a bizarre mix of historical ignorance and political posturing that you almost can't believe is real. And somehow, he expects anyone to take this seriously.
President Biden, he's set to deliver his first major speech since leaving office tonight. I wanted to get the president's response, or if he plans to respond to this, and comments on what Democrats are calling cuts to Social Security.
My first reaction when seeing former President Biden was speaking tonight was, I'm shocked that he is speaking at nighttime. I have thought his bedtime was much earlier than his speech tonight. I understand the topic of his speech will be Social Security. Let me make it very clear ahead of former President Biden's remarks. President Trump, is absolutely certain about protecting Social Security benefits for law-abiding, tax-paying American citizens and seniors who have paid into...
I still can't understand why Biden thought stepping up for that speech was a smart move. Public speaking has rarely been his strong suit, and this latest attempt only highlighted it even more. From the moment he approached the podium, it was a slow-motion disaster, mumbling incomplete sentences, drifting off topic, and leaving everyone in the audience squinting in confusion, trying to figure out what he was even attempting to say. It wasn't just awkward, it was genuinely uncomfortable. But then Karoline Leavitt enters the scene, turning the moment on its head, while Biden struggled with his notes. Karoline was out there landing precise, crushing responses in real time, tearing into Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz after their eyebrow-raising remarks. She didn't just push back. She methodically dismantled their talking points with poise, clarity, and confidence, making the contrast with Biden's rambling speech all the more striking. Moments like these are a reminder why Karoline is rising fast, and why others are constantly playing catch-up.
Tesla stock, in doing so, to quote, give me a little boost during the day. How should Americans view politicians who take pride in the downfall of an American car company?
I think that's quite sad, but I think Governor Walz unfortunately is living a sad existence after his devastating defeat on November 5th.
Exactly. When your political opponents are people like Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, the smartest strategy isn't to argue with them. The easiest move is to just hand them the microphone and step aside. No rebuttal is needed because every time they speak, they manage to do what entire campaigns struggle to pull off. They expose their own confusion and incompetence in real time. Kamala's infamous word salads leave everyone trying to make sense of her sentences, while Tim Walz's baffling takes feel completely out of touch with reality. It's like watching a scene from an alternate universe. You don't need clever messaging, spin, or strategy. All you need is patience. Let them talk, let them ramble, and let the public watch in disbelief. It's a slow-motion implosion that unfolds before your eyes. And the best part? You don't have to do a thing. Just sit back and let the microphone do all the work.
It was a great reminder to the American people of just how blessed we all are, that the leader sitting in the Oval Office today is President Donald Trump and not President Kamala Harris.
Just to add on the Kamala Harris point, I think I speak for everyone at the White House. We encourage Kamala Harris to continue going out and speaking.
Oh, and by the way, quick reminder, I've noticed you haven't liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet. So what are you waiting for? Hit those buttons. It helps more than you know. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Now let's talk about Tim Walz. Remember when the media were falling all over themselves to promote him during his latest town hall tour? They were hyping him up like he was the next big thing, a fresh Democratic voice with mainstream appeal. But flash forward just a few months and crickets. After a string of missteps and awkward performances, those same outlets that once couldn't get enough of him have basically ghosted the guy. It's almost like they realized the product they were selling didn't quite live up to packaging. And while that unfolds stateside, across the pond, the UK government is facing its own heat. This time, thanks to Winston Marshall, who's not holding back. He recently called out the growing attacks on free speech in Britain, and let's just say it struck a nerve. When artists and musicians start sounding more like truth-tellers than politicians, you know something's gone seriously off track. So stick around, because between the political gaffes, media spin, and the growing backlash to censorship, we're just getting started, and you'll want a front row seat for all of it.
We have had over a quarter of a million people issued non-crime hate incidents. As we speak, there are people in prison for quite literally reposting memes. Would the Trump administration consider political asylum for British citizens in such a situation?
Well, to your latter question, it's a very good one. I have not heard that proposed to the president, nor have I spoken to him about that idea, but I certainly can and talk to our national security team and see if it's something.
Now, this is where things get really intriguing. This moment didn't just happen by chance. It occurred during a White House press briefing set up specifically for new media outlets. If you were paying attention, you probably noticed a lot of unfamiliar faces in the press pool. It wasn't the usual lineup of legacy media favorites nodding along and throwing soft questions. Here's the kicker. The topic being discussed wasn't a sudden breaking story or some brand new scandal. It was an issue that had been simmering for months, something everyone in the room already knew. Yet for all that time, the mainstream media had conveniently ignored it, acting like it didn't exist or wasn't worth their airtime. Then suddenly, a voice from outside that bubble asked the tough question. And just like that, it finally gets the attention it deserves. That single moment says everything about how the mainstream media functions. It's not about reporting truth. It's about controlling the narrative. If a story doesn't fit their script, it simply doesn't make the cut. That's why these new voices matter so much. Sometimes it only takes one outsider to break the silence and show what real journalism actually looks like.
First question about free speech in the United Kingdom. The Vice President has been incredibly outspoken about this for good reason. And the President has spoken about this as well directly with your Prime Minister when he was here for a visit to the White House. So it remains a critical endeavor of ours to show the Brits and your country, which we love and admire, about the First Amendment and the importance of free speech.
Jeff Bezos also faced some serious public calling out from Karoline, and the way she tore into him was absolutely impressive.
Style and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years? And I would also add that it's not a surprise because, as Reuters recently wrote, Amazon has partnered with a Chinese propaganda arm. So this is another reason why Americans should buy American. It's another reason why we are onshoring critical supply chains here at home to
Here's the part that's really flying under the radar, but it's a total game changer. Some people are noticing that this move actually helps Amazon users figure out which products are made outside the U.S., which means it indirectly encourages American-made alternatives without any advertising or sales pitch. It's a small detail, but it's surprisingly clever. Now, just imagine if the same situation had happened under Trump. The mainstream media would have lost their minds. Non-stop headlines would scream things like Trump tariffs crushing working families or economic disaster strikes. And the cycle of panic and outrage would repeat endlessly. That's what makes this so satisfying. Karoline didn't just answer a tough question. She turned it into a strategic moment, showing how much control and poise she has. She didn't stumble. She didn't get flustered. She calmly and confidently put Jeff Bezos in his place, all while making it look effortless. And as if that wasn't enough, there's a jaw-dropping twist to cap it off. MSNBC's own Joy Reid 2.0 got exposed again for blatant racist remarks, and it happened during another White House briefing aimed at the new media. Once the legacy press steps aside, the truth seems to surface in ways that clearly make some people uncomfortable. So yeah, don't go anywhere. This is just getting started, and you'll want to see every moment unfold.
Just what she is saying. The president intends on deporting illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws and are not only impacting communities across the country, but in particular communities of color in our inner cities. You remember the story out of New York City where young minority children were kicked out of their public school to make room for illegal immigrants to sleep on the floor of their cafeteria. That is putting America last. Doesn't matter your race, your religion, or creed. If you are a law-abiding American citizen, President Trump is going to put you first.
Honestly, I still can't wrap my head around why MSNBC thought this was a smart move. They fired Joy Reid, supposedly to dial things down after years of over-the-top, divisive commentary, and then handed the reins to Simone Sanders. But really, it's like they just swapped one outrage machine for another and somehow expected a completely different outcome. If their goal was to rebuild trust or appeal to a wider audience, this wasn't just a swing and a miss. It was a full-on strikeout, and the bat is still stuck on their shoulder. Instead of making any real changes, they've simply repackaged the same hyper-partisan energy with a slightly different face, and viewers can see right through it. It's not about honest conversation or balanced reporting. It's just more the same noise dressed up to look like something new. And that's the frustrating part. There's no subtlety here, no real effort to engage audiences differently. But maybe that's just my take. I really want to hear yours. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think. And if you've been enjoying these takedowns as much as I have, share this video with a friend or two. It helps get the word out. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next, because things are just getting started.